I love my HBCU. And boy, I love it, love it. I love it, love it. I love my HBCU. And man, I hope my team they won one. I hope my team they won one. Yeah, man. I hope my team they won one. I hope my team they won one. I tune into the HBCU Sports Lab to see if my team won or lost. If they lost, I'm quiet as a mouse. But if they won, keep tab. I'ma do the dab, yeah. Dr. Cavil, he know what he be talking about. Mike and Charles, they know what they be talking about. They compress the analytic data with the hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they won or lost, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Mike Washington is back on assignment after getting some time with us last week in Birmingham with the SWAC Football Media Days. He made a guest appearance, got in and got out. I guess that's what stars do. But with that being said, welcome to episode 682 of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab radio show and podcast, the show that's covering the sporting HBCU diaspora, all things HBCU sports for institutions large and small, from the NAIA to the NCAA. We share insights and information on the HBCU sports culture, HBCU athletic aesthetics to facilitate the story of HBCU athletic programs and the business of HBCU sports. I'm your host, Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, along with my co-host. Today will be none other than Charles Bishop is back in the building, along with A.D. Drew, who got a chance to start with me making the trip all the way up to Baltimore, Maryland for the MEAC Football Media Day. Obviously, you all seen him there in his presence as he was there with Charles Bishop that had to go do some work with the SWAC, which now in the SWAC Football Media Day, which now is part of the SWAC TV. Big time. Some of y'all are moving all over the place, moving up in the world. But we're filming from our home studios in Signal Live, the KCOH 1230 AM studios with the Texas Radio Hall of Famer, multi-Hall of Famer in the beautiful home of Texas Southern University from Houston, Texas. It is good to be back home after being on the road for 7 days, actually 6 cities in 7 days to be exact. That would be 2 conference medias, along with a presser for a kickoff classic, convention, Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated convention. So we had 1 bus ride, 3 flights, 1 delay, but I'm back in one piece in all part of it. In all seriousness, 1 long road trip from Birmingham to Houston. So a lot going on last week, but we're back in the house. We gave you a little break from the lab because we wanted to bring you the lab on the road. We did that part of BCSN Game Day, as we know we partner with them under Black College Sports Network. With that being said, hello to everybody in terms of getting back into the house. And let me go to you, Charles. How are you doing?
I'm doing much better, Doc.
Have you recovered? I heard that you got a little worse for the wear. I thought you think I was doing something 6 days, 7 days. You got just a couple of days and got knocked out to the sideline.
Yeah, I think I'm back on my feet now, but summer colds being what they are, but maybe still a little congestion action, but doing much better. I'm glad to be back in the house, in terms of getting to some HBCU news and talking some HBCU opinions and what all is about to happen on this upcoming season. Should be fun.
See, I told you stop playing in the SWAC streets.
I know, right?
Before the SWAC Media Day, man, you got to chill out, man. You went too hard. You went too hard for the folks. Trying to get insight. You went a little too hard.
I did. I gotta dial it back a little bit.
Yeah, you think you back in your I love days. You can't really roll like that.
Long gone are those days.
That street is can't do it like you used to, big boy. 80, right. The man with the plan. With 3-4 jobs, he does not scare away from an opportunity to do some work and get a paycheck for it. That being said, Eddie Drew, exactly. How you doing today?
Well, Doc, my travel schedule was not as intense as yours, but I did do 5 events in 4 cities, but mine was spread out over about a 12-day span there, Dr. Cavil. No, I did 6 events in 5 cities over a 12-day span. That's what it was, Dr. Cavil. So
that's not bad.
But I did get this memo from Mike, Dr. Cavil. He said it was something wrong with his rider, so he decided that since something wasn't right in his dressing room or something like that, and he just got mad and decided he was going back.
He just quoted and said, "Man, I got to go." I didn't know what it was. I appreciate you won't make that mistake.
Deciding something was wrong, man.
That's like Mike makes a cameo appearance, they're gone.
Oh, real. He's like, I'm out. 2 fingers. Shout out to my boy. He did take care of me, though. I will say this. He did make it to the convention. He had the privilege of part of his work assignment is seriously in Philadelphia for those that care to know. And so it was easy. Got in there Thursday. He took care of you, boy. I didn't have to worry about anything. And that's probably why I'm looking like I'm looking now, because he had me try to join the club with Charles. But that's a whole nother story. Shout out to Joe Clay that literally caught the red eye. Got in the last minute as we told him, where you at? We found a way to talk him to coming. And so he's punished for it early this week. And shout out to Alan for getting the Airbnb, taking care of that. Richardson brothers down there. And then we had a collective with some of the Ada Gamma brothers, some brothers from the Detroit chapter, graduate chapter. Obviously, this graduate chapter here in Houston, putting in work. So shout out to all those members of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated for bringing it hot and heavy in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Hey, Doc, since you're doing shout outs, I got to shout out my brother, my sister-in-law, my nephew,
Safe travels.
2 nephews who literally just left my house about an hour ago, Dr. Cavil. Took
more
some
house?
pictures. No, my house, actually. Not more house, my house. Not the house, my house. But we took some pictures in the proper maroon color, Dr. Cavil. I'm trying to get your son trained and get him in the right shade of maroon. not that maroon and gold that he likes to wear, that maroon and white. The package is in the mail, Dr. Cavil. It'll be there. Should be there by the weekend.
I'll let you know. I'll make sure. We'll get some good pictures for you too.
But they on their way back to Kentucky after I had to drive down to Savannah State. Maybe add another city in, Dr. Cavil. I had to drive to Savannah yesterday. Savannah State nephew in the track nationals over at Savannah State.
Congratulations, big deal.
Yeah,
good deal. Shout out for all the athletes out there getting it done. All the academics, the missions, as I like to say, getting it done as well. So big time week. But let me do this as we pivot and go into your direction, Charles. What news of the day do you want to share?
Yeah, let's start here. And this is a pretty cool story as it comes to us via HBCUsports.com. Alcorn to deploy many media professionals to cover football games this season.
And the definition of many is really many, right?
Very much so. Alcorn is introducing fresh voices to the 2025 season. The Forecasters, a group of young sports reporters, will take on sideline duties this fall. These young people, they're budding broadcasters that will conduct exclusive interviews with players, coaches, and fans during home games, offering a fun, youthful perspective on Braves football. The school said in a news release, and this comes to us from the athletic director, Dwayne Robinson. Alcorn has always embraced innovation and community. With Forecasters, we're combining both. The initiative gives kids an incredible opportunity to grow and engage while connecting fans to the game in a whole new way. So shout out to Alcorn. That's an innovative approach.
I like that. Mm-hmm. I sure do. I like it. I like it when young folks get a chance to get involved, particularly when it's HBCUs. Many of them fall in love early, but to help them in terms of their love for the sport, particularly when it has HBCUs attached to it, I'm all supportive of. Reminds me of Little Deuce and Miles in terms of what they put in the work until YouTube put the rubber stamp on them and said, not so fast, my friends. We're going to have to find a way to help them get it going so they can support HBCUs and get their love in terms of sports talk on it as well. Speaking of that, Drew, he had a chance to visit his cousin in Atlanta who's attending Morehouse as far as a freshman. So should be interesting to see what that looks like at that point. Let me go back to you as my camera seems to be acting up a little bit. Drew, what's on your mind?
Yeah, Cuzzo to come visit me over in the athletic suite, man.
I'll do that. I sure will.
Yeah. Charles, thank you for leaving me the low-hanging fruit. I just knew which story you was going to lead off with, Charles, but I appreciate you leaving me the low-hanging fruit. So I'm going to go to your institution, I love. I said it, Jerome. Yes, I said it. Jackson State University, former Jackson State University star. We know the name, James Houston, formerly of the Detroit Lions. Well, now, Charles, aren't the Cowboys your favorite team?
They are my favorite team. I am a Cowboy fan. Yes.
So your one of your favorite stars from your alma mater is now playing for your favorite team, the Dallas Cowboys.
Yes, indeed.
Houston, the 2022 6th-round draft pick out of Jackson State, began his career with the Lions on the practice squad. He made an immediate impact after being activated. We all remember the game on Thanksgiving Day, 2022. With when he had that 2-sack performance against Buffalo. He went on to tally 8 sacks in just 7 games, quickly becoming one of the league's most surprising breakout rookies. Despite early success, Houston struggled to carve out a consistent role in 2023. They tried to move him to linebacker. It didn't fit. Then the injuries came on. 2024, they tried again. But however, things didn't work out. So now he's in the Dirty D. He's in Dallas. So fresh start for Houston. Good luck to the former Jackson State Tiger there, James Houston.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of I Love fans out there are also fans of the Cowboys. So that should work out really well. Certainly hope it.
Well, I got the same colors. It helps.
Makes a little cheap on the budget. You can do some nice mixes and matches as well.
I know. Quick drive up
said, go ahead, Charles. I jumped in there. Go ahead.
Yeah, more fruit. And this comes to us from Jackson State. FCS Football Central releases its preseason All-American team and the 2025 preseason All-American team ahead of the season on today, Thursday, featuring 3 Jackson State student athletes, including first team selection Jeremiah Williams, as well as he'll be joined on this team by second team all-purpose selection Travis Terrell Jr. And then on the third team of this FCS Football Central release is Nate Rimber, coming off of an all-conference selection a season ago while he was at Mississippi Valley State University. So 3 Jackson State Tigers paced on this FCS Football Central preseason All-American team.
Shout out to G Boone, Prairie View in the house, Silas PV, and the lab. Appreciate the lab listeners jumping in here and making the comments as well. I want to give a shout out to Ken Rashad, reminding those, go pick up his book, HBCU Sports 101. It's out there. Hardback is coming, but you can get your current copy of the book. Not too late to make your first purchase of the book before he does the signed copies and send to you. So did want to remind folks to go get that book out there. With that being said, I want to take a little look at Tennessee State Tigers. I know our independents don't necessarily get the love, but they deserve some. They sent a picture out there that's updated in terms of the website, social media platforms, in terms of their coaching staff. Must admit, we'll see what they're going to be able to do. But right now, this is a pretty impressive coaching staff. Greg Williams, many people remember him from the NFL, New Orleans. Yeah, that made me not to get much more, but he has some good defenses as well. But sure,
forgot about that. Yeah.
Terriano Morgan, that was just at Edward Waters. The little people, a couple of folks caught that as he resigned. That was the news of the day, literally while we was in the middle of Atlanta celebrating a MEAC SWAC Challenge get together with media that John Grant, along with A.D. Drew and the staff there, put together to celebrate us, and certainly want to shout out him and appreciate him for that. Then you got Cedric Thornton. A lot of us in the SWAC are very fond what Cedric Thornton does. He's been right there on the cusp in terms of his defensive coordinator role and right there on some finalist list for head coaching.
Hell of a coach. Yeah.
Certainly. Deion Harris in terms of Rod Woods. So a lot of big names out here. Jarrett, Dexter Morgan, big time names, but another one that catches your eye is Shannon Harris. He is co-offensive coordinator along with Morgan, Coach Morgan over there. What may make some interesting thoughts were there. Both of these guys are Tennessee State alum, but Shannon Harris was also named right after, about a week or so ago, he was named the co-offensive coordinator for Tennessee State, but he was named the head coach of DC Defenders. For those that have a short memory, he recently won, just like a couple of months ago, first ever UFL championship for the Defenders, DC Defenders, right? So he will do two-way coach. He will be coaching both DC Defenders and the Tennessee State Tigers. Obviously, the seasons are not parallel, so there's a lot of ways they can get it done there. But even with that being said, this is not something that is often done in regards to that part of that because the seasons oftentimes run together. But just some people would like to have folks have all their focus. So I thought that was pretty cool to hear both of those announcements and tie them together when you think about this Tennessee staff. I think it's at least something to keep your eyes on.
Yeah,
head coach is getting it done over there, it seems, in terms of at least putting a very formidable staff together. Keep your eyes on Tennessee State Tigers. Got a couple of SWAC matchups that will have us focus on that. And then they have an independent matchup with A&T to start things off. So that's going to be fascinating. Then they got a MEAC conference full on there. So we'll see what that means. With that, let's take our first break, come back on the other side. We're going to focus a little bit and turn the cameras to Charles. Talk about his time in Birmingham as he had a chance to be the feature interviewer of the SWAC players that were brought down by their institutions. So I want to get his thoughts on some of the guys, what they said, how he thought about it, his questions that he was asking in terms of that time, and really take a little deeper dive and see if any other names of players that came out that he said beside those asking him what we should keep our eyes on. So we'll be right back after this first break.
Football fans, HBCU football is back in the ATL with the Cricket MEAC SWAC Talents Kickoff. Representing the MEAC, North Carolina Central, and representing the SWAC, Southern Eagles, Jaguars, the Marching Sound Machine, the Human Jukebox. The kickoff trophy is up for grabs, and bragging rights are on the line. The rivalry is real. Bring the family and join us pre-game for the fun-filled Coca-Cola fan experience, including band jamborees, food, activations, and fellowship. For tickets and information, visit MEACSWACTalents.com.
It's like a loot machine. All around town, trying to get down. It's like a loot machine.
The Cavil Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cavil.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavil of Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they want to lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Today we have Charles Bishop and AD Drew. With that being said, let's jump into it, Charles. Give me a little insight in terms of, first, how do you prepare when you get a chance to be a part of a broadcast, particularly for a media day in this opportunity? How do you prepare going into that?
Well, obviously, when I see the list of attendees, I immediately kind of go back to where they were and what they did in terms of last season, so that I can sort of have a foundation of kind of who these guys are and what they did last season. But a lot of it is sort of very interestingly sort of building rapport with them even before they get on camera, and you could tell a lot of them, it might be their first time really being in the spotlight, so to speak. So a very interesting story with David Westmoreland from FAMU, who saw me in the hotel. It's like, hey, I remember you from last year. I've been studying in terms of what you might add. So I was like, well, wait a second, I'm not gonna put you on the spot. But he was like, nah, but I went back and looked at film from last year in terms of what you had. So I was like, don't worry, everything's gonna be all good. I might play with you over there in terms of show me some hand placement in terms of what you might do. So a lot of it is just reminding them, that what we're trying to do is introduce you to the SWAC fan base, and more than anything, talk to me about what you guys have been doing in the off season to prepare for the season. Because in a lot of ways, you're introducing yourself to your fan base. So I think once we get those parameters, kind of established, guys, that you can tell they kind of loosen up a little bit and they're ready to kind of joke around and play and enjoy the moment.
Good stuff. I'm gonna ask one more before I allow Drew to get in here and ask his follow-up question in terms of this framework. Do you have a pre-production meeting? You have any type of production meeting for this?
Sure. There's a pre-production meeting where you kind of get a overview in terms of how the schedule is going to go, because it is very fast and furious in terms of everybody trying to get to their next place that they're supposed to be. So trying to stay on schedule is kind of a bit of a task, but normally if we can't get the coach, we'll try to get the players or whoever is walking by. You kind of have to make sure that you kind of stay on your toes in terms of who's coming in and who's available, and then just kind of have a working knowledge of who's coming. So I think my knowledge of the conference, my knowledge of the history of teams, it really goes a long way in terms of helping prepare for some of these interviews, because I think just going back, Jacorian Sewell, running back for Alcorn, just knowing what he did last season and being able to just immediately go right in and start talking to him, not just about his place at Alcorn, but the lineage of Alcorn State running backs. Whether you're talking Perry Qualls or you're talking whomever, he comes from a distinct line of great running backs who's played for Alcorn. So you really want to kind of open up and get into some of those questions about what is it that you bring to the table in terms of what you're going to do for Alcorn this upcoming season.
Good stuff. Drew, let me let you get in here and ask your question.
All right, Chuck. For you, how do you engage your conversation so that we don't get the typical coach speak, one game at a time, and we take it one game at a time? Those type of answers from the coaches and the players, and also on the flip side of that, making sure that they don't put themselves in position to give bulletin board material to the upcoming opponent. How do you balance that with your life, the way you approach your question?
I think I've been fortunate in that I've been in proximity to a lot of these coaches, so I had an opportunity to kind of build up rapport with them. So it always helps take Eddie Robinson Jr. for example. We've rode bikes together. When he's in Houston, he's part of my bike riding group, so I can always not so much talk specifically about what Alabama State is going to do this upcoming season, but we can bond over something else. And for the most part, we have sort of a jokey sort of theme or whatever the case might be with various coaches. But I think that helps out a lot to have some rapport with a lot of these coaches in the league. And even the new coaches coming in had a great opportunity to sit down and talk with Coach Tremaine Jackson from Prairie View. Tremendously engaging guy, so that you can really not just focus in on football, but you can kind of talk about coaching philosophy or whatever the case might be.
Yeah. All right. And the other thing, and once again, I'm going for low hanging fruit today, Dr. Cavil. We've been gone for 2 weeks, so I got to get back into the swing of this. How do you avoid not making the gaffe that we saw after MEAC?
Let me say it like this. You're going to make mistakes. Mistakes will happen. Hopefully you don't make a viral mistake.
Right.
But for the most part, I think I'm fortunate in that I have a great working knowledge of the conference and a lot of the people who've been around the conference.
Let me cut you off. And what I mean by that, because it is such rapid fire,
sure.
And sometimes you may not have an opportunity to really look at your notes, and you glance at them, and we all know our eyes play tricks on us. We know we saw this, but by the time it comes out of our mouth, it is something totally different than what's written on that paper.
Yeah,
that's kind of where I'm going with that.
Oh no, I'm sitting there with my notes and I'm looking at who's coming, and it's like, let me make sure I get it right. Ja'Cory Sewell and Gideon Spotswood. So I'm constantly saying that in my head, in terms of who's stopping by, whether it's Jacoby Morgan and Jeremiah. But I'm constantly going over who's here with me and things of that nature. But like I said, you don't want to make the golden ticket mistake, and all of a sudden everybody's talking crazy about you. But like I said, it is a fun process. I think I mesh well with Tolly and Santoria because we'll, have a great working relationship where we can not only bounce ideas off each other, but we have a good rapport with each other, so we can kind of joke around and we can incorporate that within the broadcast. Because Tolly and I, we're shooting a couple of zingers at each other from time to time. So.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Really good question, Drew. Particularly the way you asked it in terms of setting up how that happens and, how do you avoid it? To your point, same day. And that's why I guess I didn't think about it that big a deal in terms of what took place. I certainly understood why people were upset, but I was like, it happens.
It does.
People pay attention to it. But I guess that, as you said, viral moment, that's the wrong one not to happen. I had one with Roman Banks as I was interviewing him. I said, Texas Southern instead of Southern. And I swore I said Southern, but he quickly let me know we got past it and joked on. But thankfully, like you said, it wasn't a viral moment.
Yeah, but you're not HBCU adjacent, Doc. You're within,
right. So I get a little room for error versus some people already question why he was there. I get it.
Yeah.
But we're going to spend the next segment to talk a little bit more, or one of the last segments to talk a little bit more about the MEAC Media Day. But before we end this segment, I wanted to ask you, what were some of the guys that stood out and why, whether they were talking about themselves or something they said or a teammate, that we should keep our eyes on in terms of whether it's their demeanor throughout the season as they may handle themselves or productivity-wise that you're thinking out, hey, we need to keep our eyes on these players for this year?
Well, obviously, when you talk about preseason, the SWAC Offensive Player of the Year, Jacoby Morgan, and Defensive Player of the Year, Kelby Gibbons. Those guys,
real deal.
Straight from Central Cassie. When you talk about Jacoby and being, 6'4", 6'5", and Kelby, I mean, he's the SWAC's version of Aaron Donald. Very no nonsense guy, but very engaging. And I have to say, everybody that came, all the representatives from the schools, did a tremendous job. Got an opportunity to talk with Malik Huggins, and he was like, "Hey, you called my touchdown last year. I was like, you know what, Malik, I sure did when Bethune played Texas Southern. So, there's bonding with a lot of guys from doing play-by-play on a few games. Tremendously impressed by KJ Cooper from Texas Southern. Very polished. You can tell he is the leader of that football team in terms of just a very polished individual in terms of talking to the media. And you can tell, he's going to be one of those guys you kind of get in behind and follow. Same with Jacoby Morgan. They call him Jerome for a reason. But all of these guys, brought something to the table, whether being engaging or joking about something. And I told Trey Klemp, place kicker from UAPB, we don't often get place kickers who are the representatives, but he provided great backstory in terms of how he got into kicking and, talked about his range a little bit. So it's always great to get a lot of insight on guys that you don't normally see in front of the microphones.
This is a little bit for best of y'all. I don't want to say who was the best dressed, but who did you really appreciate their outfit? One or two of what kind of stood out to you? Is like, I just like the way it was assembled or the color scheme they did. What stood out to you in terms of particular jacket with the logo just popped for you?
Let me take that.
Go ahead, Drew. You can start, and then I'll let Charles end the segment with his.
You said the magic word, and you said color scheme. Valley with that whatever color green you want to call it.
Yeah.
The fact that you could rock that and rock that with confidence. And let's be real.
I like it. Yeah.
Valley, Dr. Alicia Shears Gadsden taking over as athletic director, Terrell Buckley as the head coach. I mean, are you kind of rooting for them because they're the underdog? You really kind of rooting for them to turn around and to do something. And of course, like everybody in the SWAC, we're rooting for you, except for when you play us.
Sure.
But
you don't want to be the one.
Right. Trust me, we were the one last year, Dr. But you have to root for Valley, and like I say, the fact to come in with those green suits. Now we're not talking forest green. We're not talking a deep green. It was just something about it's the Valley green. I don't know what color green you call it, but just coming in with and wearing it with confidence. Valley for me.
Hey, I can piggyback on that a little bit because I'm always impressed by the teams, especially that have not historically had a lot of success in the conference, whether you're talking about Valley, UAPB, or even Bethune-Cookman. But they came in with an air of like, we ain't last year's team. So you always, kind of perk your ears up a little bit to like, okay, well, talk to me about who you are now, that sort of deal. And I'm very impressed with Valley, very impressed with, their air, if you will, in terms of what they brought to SWAC Media Day. How that translates on the field, nobody knows, but, they were quick to point out there are 70 new bodies here in Mississippi Valley, and we're not even going to talk about last year. So we're in this phase of what we're about to do now, and they'll, remind you at least, like, listen, you can talk about us all you want to. We still knocked off FAM last year, so we got some heart about ourselves. So that sort of stuff kind of jumps out and just it resonates with you. So you're looking to see what they will do this upcoming season.
Good stuff. Let's take our next break. Come back on the other side. We're gonna put Drew in the spotlight and talk a little bit about putting together a press conference. How do you go about that, and the difference between putting an institutional press conference on versus a national kickoff classic, if you would, presser. With that being said, we'll be right back on the other side.
History? Yeah, we built that. Pride? We fuel that. And on August 30th, we run that. Two powerhouse HBCUs, Howard Bison, FAMU Rattlers, one legendary showdown under the Miami lights at Hard Rock Stadium. The energy unmatched. The culture undeniable. The vibes straight HBCU. 2025 Invesco QQQ Orange Blossom Classic. Get your tickets and book your hotel now at orangeblossomclassic.com. Saturday, August 30th at 4 p.m. in Miami Gardens.
HBCU football fans, the Cricket MEAC SWAC Challenge Kickoff is celebrating 20 years this August. From Birmingham to Orlando to campus sites and now in Atlanta, the Cricket MEAC SWAC Challenge Kickoff has been a mainstay in HBCU athletics. 2 decades of providing a national platform on ESPN and now ABC for the finest HBCU programs in the country and some of the most talented players and coaches that have represented them. DeForest Jackson, Tariq Cohen, Javon Hargrave, Darius Leonard, Rod Broadway, Buddy Pugh, all have left their mark on this storied event. This year, we celebrate by welcoming North Carolina Central and Southern to Atlanta, which has cemented its place as the HBCU football capital. Every team who participates in this event looks to start and finish their season in the A by gaining a spot in the Cricket Celebration Bowl. That, however, is earned by becoming conference champions. And it starts right here in week 0. MEAC versus SWAC. The rivalry is real. Thank you for the last 20 years of support. The story never ends.
Press the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Bill with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. As we move on the show, I want to get into, as I said, what it looks like when you talk about putting together press conferences, particularly from the institution after a game, and sometimes you need to do a pregame, or to come off and kick off event. I'm fascinated to see what Drew has to say about that a little bit. So I'm going to put him on the spot in terms of what that looks like as we get into it. AD Drew, let me go right to you and just ask that question. Let's start first with the institutional press conferences you would. What does that look like when you put that together?
Obviously, what's your thing? Well, we announced a new coach. Is this a game-related press conference? Announcing a game, post game. So you have to know that first of all, and what your focus is. Because if you're doing something like we recently announced our new basketball coach. So in that particular instance, after you go through the planning, day, coordinate with all your people on campus, where you're going to do it at, you've got to go out and actually get people to actually be at the press conference. You got to get media there, because it is a press conference. A press conference is no one is there to hear about it.
That's pretty good.
I mean, does a tree that falls in the forest make a sound if no one is there to hear it? It's the same thing with a press conference. You got to make sure that you have, because there's nothing more embarrassing than to go through all the time that it takes to set up for this press conference, and there's nobody there but campus media. So, and even worse, if even campus media don't show up for it, but that's a different story. But you go through, you do that, you make sure you got your scripts, who's going to appear on the press conference, who's going to moderate it, athletic director coming in, president coming in, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Make sure you coordinate with all those people. You got 5 minutes, you got 15 minutes, you got 10 minutes. Make sure you leave enough time for Q&A. Because the one thing about press conferences, Dr. Cavil and Charles, let's keep it under an hour, please. Please and thank you. Keep it under an hour. 45 is better, but definitely an hour is the limit that you want to keep people engaged on the press conference. The other thing is when I'm at the house, it's 100% me. Whatever goes wrong is on me. Whatever goes right, nobody gets credit for it. But it's my job to make sure that everything goes right. The planning, if we're streaming, all that stuff, I have to make sure that I coordinate that.
Before I let Charles jump in, I want to ask one more. No, go ahead. It's hot. I don't want to miss this. This is good. He said Charles might have a good one.
Well, here's the question. Like, how do you catalog? Because we're in a day and age where there are 800,000 people who are HBCU adjacent that are trying to cover, things now. How do you go about the process of cataloging, those media entities that are there and paying attention to, I guess, the relevancy of the things that they might ask?
Let's start off with Gabe. But the number one thing is your media list. Developing a good media list. Now, for Morehouse, I probably got 70 plus media entities on my list. Some of those are local here in Atlanta. Some of those are national people like you guys. You guys are on my media list. You guys get my blast that I send out and everything else. So keeping that in mind, and with the relevancy, okay, I know I've got a Charles Bishop in Houston who's interested in this. I need to make sure he gets into this. So I need to make sure I have some type of Zoom option for people like him. But then for my local people who are here in Atlanta, especially the TV stations, Atlanta Journal-Constitution, 11 Alive, et cetera, making sure that I engage with them. And even if I have to reach out, call them or text them, because it's your job as the athletic communication specialist, media coordinator, or whatever your title is, to try to establish those personal relationships, so that if I can't get the person who normally covers me, no, I've got so and so going on, but I'm sending my other person to cover y'all today. Making sure that you have those personal engagements, and you develop that when they apply to come. You want to cover? You want to get in the homecoming? You better come cover me some other time besides homecoming. You want to get into that Clark Atlanta Morehouse basketball game? I think you need to come cover me another game or two besides that game, because the chance of you getting denied, if that's the only game that you cover with me, are going to be great.
That leads me back into my other question perfectly, Charles. So I'm glad you jumped in there and provided that. Let's switch from institutional to more of a national meeting when you're talking about the Kickoff Classic, or what will be upcoming for the Cricket Celebration Bowl with MEAC SWAC Challenge, Kickoff Classic. If you would, talk a little bit about how that's different, or how do you prepare for it differently compared to what you do institutionally from that framework?
Number one, instead of me having to do everything, and I had to learn this real fast. I do not have to do everything. What I mean by that, I have more resources when I'm dealing with that national event. I have other people I have somebody whose job, all it is to handle everything on social media. At Morehouse, that's one of the things that I do. I have somebody else's job who it is to do this or to do that. So it's more making sure that you have the right people in right places doing what they do best when you're dealing with that national. Just like on the local level, making sure that you get this information out to the media and get them going. I asked y'all, hey, I hadn't seen y'all apply. Now everybody don't get that courtesy. But people who I know who should be covering it, I will reach out to them. Hey, I'm getting ready to close credentials out in 2 days. I hadn't seen yours on the list. Are you coming? Oh, my bad, Drew. I forgot about it. Oh, I never saw the link, because stuff happens.
Yeah.
So reaching out and making sure those are handled, and then because just like as an athlete, when the stage is higher, you step your game up higher. The pressure is higher. You make sure that everybody is doing what they are supposed to do. We tried something different with this press conference, Dr. Cavil. For the first time in the 20 years of the Cricket MEAC SWAC Challenge, we live streamed the press conference.
Oh, nice. Good thing for the 20th anniversary. A good way to go. Nice addition.
Yeah. Now, it helps that I have the experience of being with the Black College Sports Network, So I knew how important it was, but I still had to sell it to other people. I don't make that decision in a vacuum. I had to tell them, like, we need to stream this live and not just record it and send it out. And it helps that I had the backing of the Black College Sports Network, because who you think helped me produce that, everybody? You stay with the people who you trust. I had Roy there. I had Brian there. I knew with Bishop and Cavil in the front row, I knew I was going to get a few intelligent questions with people like them and Jamie Walker and Keisha Kelly, you know, and I intentionally made sure that you guys were in the front of the line when it came to the Q&A period, so that you guys could set the tone. I didn't tell y'all that, but you got to do that, and you know, so you know, just making sure those things. But when you're on that national stage, it's you have to raise the level of what you do, because everybody's expecting on you, and you want to have a viral moment, Charles. Let something go wrong in that press conference when you talk about those type events. Not only will you have a viral moment, but you'll have a pink slip moment also, Charles.
Oh, great point. We'll leave it right there because you dropped the mic on that. Let's take our last break and come back on the other side. Go talk a little bit about the MEAC Media Day. Drew and I were there. We did our thing, but and we'll kind of compare and contrast our experience with other media days and how they are all unique. Not saying that one is better than the other, but really they're done uniquely. And even the MEAC did a pivot themselves in terms of that. Get into discussion. I personally thought a lot of things they brought to the table were unique and done really well. So fascinating to hear what you all think about it. Drew was there. Charles got to see it from the television side. So we get two different dynamics when we do that. So we'll take our last break, come back on the other side and talk just about that. In the same way, ask them a little about what they thought in terms of the predicted order of finish, as we hadn't talked about that. We'll be right back after this.
There's a shot.
That might be. It could be.
Right field. Grand slam. What a shot. That's how you get hot, young fella.
Thank you guys for what you do for HBCU athletics. This is a fantastic avenue for all of us. This is our ESPN, so we love what you guys do, and all you guys at BCSN. We really appreciate what it is that you guys do for us.
The human voice has always connected audiences with experiences. Major brands all across America have trusted Kever's voice time and time again. Conversational, powerhouse, intelligent, and sincere. That's the voice you need for your creative marketing process. KEAVERSVOICE.com. Kever's Voice, Kever's Voice, KeversVoice.com. Always on, all the time.
This is Brian Fulford. AD Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Lab. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Lab, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
Football fans, HBCU football is back in the ATL with the Cricket MEAC SWAC Challenge Kickoff. Representing the MEAC, North Carolina Central, and representing the SWAC, Southern, Eagles, Jaguars, the Marching Sound Machine, the Human Jukebox. The kickoff trophy is up for grabs, and bragging rights are on the line. The rivalry is real. Bring the family and join us pre-game for the fun-filled Coca-Cola fan experience, including band jamborees, food, activations, and fellowship. For tickets and information, visit MEACSWACchallenge.com.
compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Will with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with AD Drew and Charles Bishop, the viral moment. With that being said,
Doc, I got to go back. There was one important point I forgot to bring out about
please share.
Handling your press conference.
Yeah.
You must have the right moderator up on that stage doing a presser. You know, somebody who understands, if it's on the institutional level, understands your institution and what your fan base and alumni want and what they expect. And if it's on the national level, somebody who understands HBCUs, the sport, the culture, and everything like this. No, that does not mean that has to be a graduate of your institution or an HBCU alum. They just have to have enough knowledge to understand what you need to deliver to your respective audience, Dr. Cavil. That was one thing I did forget to bring out in that last section, Dr. Cavil. And if you've watched some of these media days and press conferences over the last 7-8 days that we had them, you'll understand why I made that comment.
Oh, no doubt. Perfectly. Charles picked his little eyes up with viral in terms of that perfectly.
Yeah, you know, it kills me when you know somebody comes along and says Alcorn. It's just, gosh, it's just
a perfect example.
Yeah.
First thing, know how to say these schools' name. Alcorn. It's not SEAC. It's SIAC if you want to shorten it. Not SEAC. You know, certain things, certain nuances like that, you must know when you are in this. Please, if you do not know how to say their name, ask them or call them something else. Coach, if you don't know how to say his name is Coach.
You always say, yep.
You can't go wrong, except in baseball. It's where in college baseball you can say Coach. If you don't know how to if you don't know who the players are often. What I can't stand is when I can understand the players because you go through the players so much, Dr. Cavil.
Yep.
But when you ask Coach, introduce yourself, why do you have that white sheet of paper in front of you if you don't at least have the names of the head coaches written down? Charles, help me out on that one.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I feel you there. I mean, that's one of those things. It's difficult enough, you know. It's difficult enough, and you know, sometimes you know, just a little more prep work. It just goes a long way. So.
Yeah. Already, baby. That's all you got to know.
Yeah.
Hey, but with that being said, shout out to EA and thank you, G Boom, for answering the question. EA is absolutely right.
Very much so.
Taylor should be in the Hall of Fame.
We
have subgroups. We even have a radio station, Ralph Cooper, that I shout out every day on the show because of how much work he's done in teaching us about the media side without taking any costs associated with it. But he literally started while he was in middle school, from the paper journalism platform to moving to radio, doing some television. But he has always given back and groomed the next. But one of the things that he always beats the drum for, very loud, is for Otis Taylor in terms of being his rightful place in the Hall of Fame. Mm-hmm. It should be that time to do it now posthumously. Obviously, it would be late from that perspective. They waited too late until he got sick, and there was some momentum from him. But he was so sick that if they did it, he wouldn't have been able to be there. So that's one of the framework. But now you can do it posthumously, without a doubt. His family should be able to celebrate in his high school right here in Houston that support him and push heavily from the high school level. And obviously Prairie View from the HBCU level in terms of what that looks like. So I wanted to get that out there to put another platform in terms of saying, yes, Otis Taylor should be in the Hall of Fame. He still holds some records to this day in terms of what he did. Was one of the first prolific wide receivers in terms of a deep threat, and in terms of his strength, which has come back again now in terms of the NFL of how many wide receivers are strong and fast. He had both of them early on when it wasn't even a thing in terms of that.
You know, Doc, I already thought of, stuff for SWAC TV because of just listening to the platform that it's going to be. But just to hear people tell the stories, I think that's going to be a huge thing because that's something that transcends time in terms of people passing down that knowledge of players from yesteryear, whether you know about an Otis Taylor or a Willie Richardson or whomever who played in the 30s, 40s, 50s, 20s. It's important to actually have a platform now to continuously talk about those people. So I'm really looking forward to, the same way you see other conferences tell their story. This is going to be huge for the SWAC to tell their story in that regard.
Absolutely. And it has so many rich stories to tell. Certainly helps about it. I have one that I want to make sure we do next week that goes back to the founding years of the conference. One of the leading individuals who has such a fascinating read that recently went in the Hall of Fame as a Prairie View A&M University inductee just a couple of years ago in terms of what he was able to do. So I'll get a chance to break that down when you talk about Dr. John Granville Osborne in terms of his Hall of Fame induction in 2019. Go ahead, AD. You wanted to add something to that?
I was just going to say, especially before the days get away from us sooner rather than later, those old SIDs, that legendary fan who's come to every event, those legendary players before they pass on, because they have so much oral history that they can tell us. And even if we don't run this content for 3 years, let's just get it on tape, whatever we need to do, so that we can get the oral history, and then we can go back and find the video and put the graphics together later. But let's record it now. Every institution has that one fan, has that old school SID, that old school coach, that old school athletic director, that legendary player. Get them, record it, figure out how you're going to put the content out later. Just get it done.
You got to tap into it. Yeah.
Woo, that's well said. I'm glad you put that out there. Let's pivot over into the MEAC Media Day. They moved from a traditional venue for most places of being hotels. Sometimes you may have music venues, Hall of Fame type of venues, if you would, which we've seen of late. But they moved to a football venue, not just any football venue. They moved from Norfolk, Virginia, to Baltimore, Maryland, which hosts the CIAA, which has turned out really well. CIAA has extended that contract to give them a little love in terms of what they were able to do, even though the Football Media Day was in Raleigh. Their creme de la creme event, but not just them, but for many HBCU programs in Baltimore. And when you think about Maryland right now, in terms of, for a long time, people thought about Washington, D.C. in terms of the black capital Mecca, in terms of just that wealth capital that obviously went out oftentimes to Prince George County, in terms of what that looks like. Recently, you talked a little bit about Atlanta as a space beacon with a lot of rich history in terms of black folks, not just HBCUs, but extends and proliferates around that. Houston has had that in terms of larger cities. Obviously, when you get into some of the quintessential cities, you talk about Jackson, Mississippi, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Tallahassee, Florida, in terms of those places of what it looks like when you talk about cities that are in states where they're also located in the capital. But to get back to MEAC, as they move into Baltimore, where you have obviously a black mayor, you have senators that represent the state nationally in terms of that. You have a black governor in terms right now. But you go to the NFL stadium. Baltimore had one of the first successful black GMs, long-standing GM that got it done in a lot of ways. Currently has a black quarterback that is one of the premier quarterbacks. But when you go in there and see the setup, the location they had it, you had breakfast on the backside of it. You get in very authentic, open space. We have banners of each of the 6 schools where they sat at the table with a great framework. You had 2 television, big screens on the side where you would do your post game. But what is unique about the MEAC is they have the media press conference part of it first for a couple of hours, and then they get into the production side of it. So it's not going on at the same time that you see with the SWAC, see in terms of what that looks like, SIC Media Day, and then the Hall of Fame banquet afterwards. And so they all do it uniquely different, even with the CIAA. But they had this 2-tier approach. They couldn't put everything on one level. So I thought they did a brilliant move. They had the bottom level where you had your media section, where you had Sean McCoy doing his thing, where he was interviewing coaches. On the top level, you had Jay Walker, Tiffany Green, that traditionally have done HBCU broadcasts, both for the SWAC and the MEAC. We do the programming there. They were on the top level, which looked onto the field. Very picturesque video shot where they had the players up there, and they got an opportunity to see that. And so I thought from a photogenic pictorial platform, I thought the aesthetics were outstanding. And so they put a lot of work in, and I thought that was good. But I wanted to see some other thoughts, other views. I'm going to start with you, Drew, in terms of being there live. What did you think about what you partake in, either just from the media part or the production for the post-game when they did the interviews for the television production?
Number one, I love the I love the format, especially considering that there's only 6 teams that play football in the MEAC. So you get a lot more time, what I call table touching time with MEAC versus what you get with any of the other conferences, because you've got double digit teams in every other conference but the MEAC. So you can get a little bit more personal. Now, that don't mean record your whole podcast, because you only got to go through 6 teams. Some of the entities forgot their they forgot protocol with that. But you do get a little bit more time. Set up, you walked in, you say you had your banners on the one side, you had your little, and I don't know if people have to understand and visualize this. There was like a little cutout, maybe about maybe you say 50 feet, Dr. Cavil, 56 cutout, but they had it sectioned off into off the main hall, where they had about 3-4 different entities in there with the pipe and drape kind of sectioning them off so that they could do their individual interviews. I thought that was great. And those were what I call that you have to touch them. That was the ESPN setup. That was the HBCU Gold setup. That was the MEAC's their media setup. You know, people like that were in there, while the rest of us were out in the general area. But we still had space where we weren't on top of each other. So good setup. Great job by the SIDs, athletic communicators, of making sure that they got around to all of the different media outlets, and they all of them did a good job saying, hey, you got 5 minutes, you got 10 minutes, you got 7 minutes. However, they let you know before you get into it, so that you know, okay, I got time for 1 question, I got time for 2 questions, or whatever. I thought that was a great job also. And then streaming it afterwards, you know, overall, loved it. Loved the presence of being in that stadium. Just wish they wouldn't have just sodded the field, because we would have had an opportunity to go out there and actually go down on the field. But they had just literally sodded it less than a week early, and it takes about 3 weeks for their grass swoop, so they wasn't gonna let you nowhere near.
No, sir, not after they spent $1 million on it. Before I go to you, Charles, I wanted to give some context to that. They actually thought about doing it on the field. I'm kind of glad they didn't because it was a little warm in that room. I imagine if you're on that field, it would have been really warm. It would have been aesthetically pleasing. But yeah, they had just started that grass, and they was like, that's not an option. Charles, you got to see it from the production side on the other side as a viewer watching it. Yeah. Give us some frameworks of what you saw of what that looked like from that perspective.
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head with regards to the ESPN broadcast in terms of the backdrop of the stadium. I thought the MEAC did a great job of leveraging that look, being there at the Pro Football Stadium, and that was a heck of a job. I want to give you and Drew your kudos in regards to, and I think Drew touched on it, just having the timing to talk to the coaches as well as the players, and really give me more in-depth look at the team, or listen to the in-depth look at the team. So that was really appreciative from my standpoint in terms of listening to the pieces that Morgan State has, and then sort of the follow-up questions. We know the issues going into the season. In terms of, well, we know they have a championship caliber defense, but offensively, you're asking the right questions in terms of what is on that side of the ball. So, and you did that with each team. So I think that was the things that I could glean from that I really appreciated.
Good stuff. Appreciate it from that perspective of sharing that. With that being said, let's ask the question here. Do they grab the momentum of this? For the most part, other than that viral moment, it really kind of got everybody focused on that. Other than that, a lot of people were excited, thought it went well from where they were. Do you take advantage, again, of the relationship and look at maybe doing something in Atlanta at the Falcon Stadium? Is it too early for that with Michael Vick? Do you look at that in terms of that? Do you go to Philadelphia? Get in that market. Do you go over in terms of Washington? How take advantage of Charlotte when you have institution there? How far do you extend this out in terms of taking those relationships that you may have with NFL, partnering with the institution? What does that look like, Charles, from your perspective?
I mean,
you just kind of settle on Baltimore if they'll have you back in terms, because you always got other events, so scheduling can be an issue like that. Do you continue to look at working with other groups? Sean, maybe bringing that back even bigger, or do you work with other podcast shows? Do you take that to the next level?
Yeah. I mean, the short and sweet answer is you squeeze all the juice out of it that you can. So, I mean, if it is taken to Atlanta, I mean, just the storyline of Michael Vick coming back to Atlanta for media day in regards to the conference. My gosh, how huge is that? I mean, you literally have two of the more dynamic performers that the NFL has seen over the last 20 years in regards to Michael Vick and Deshaun Jackson that are coaching in your conference. Sky's the limit. Wherever you take it to, squeeze everything you can out of that towel while these guys are within the conference.
Drew, what are your thoughts?
Michael Vick can control whether he gets back to Atlanta for a big press conference. Great point. That would be by winning the MEAC and getting back for the Cricket Celebration Bowl. Let's start off with that one. Let's get
like to see one man out.
Y'all keep leaving that low-hanging fruit. You left another one right there, Charles. He can get himself back here. It's up to him to take care of his business. So, number one. Number two, Dr. Cavil, you want to shy away from the Shady McCoy incident. I don't. And the reason I don't want to shy away from it is, realistically, does the MEAC Media Day get that much attention were it not for the gaffe by Shady McCoy?
That's true.
It let's be realistic. It doesn't. I'm in the airport. I'm getting phone calls. I'm getting texts. I'm getting it's in our chat group. I get off the plane. I get a call. Hey, you want to jump on a podcast tonight and talk about this and stuff like that? That does not happen were it not for the gaffe.
Right.
So, like you say, Charles, squeeze all the juice out of it. Squeeze that juice too if you gonna squeeze, Charles. Squeeze all of the juice.
So whether it's orange juice or lemonade, squeeze it up.
Put some add some sugar in it, put some Sprite in it. I don't care what you do, but get the juice, Charles.
Get the juice. I feel you.
Good stuff. Well, I gotta ask this in terms of the SWAC. It's really on a really heightened, getting a lot of attention. Do you keep what you're doing, continue to build it? Do you look at taking it to 2 days? Do you move it in terms of in your footprint? And if not, Atlanta, obviously, in a lot of ways, that may be something that you start there and end there, so you don't move there. But then you have New Orleans, Houston, Dallas. Do you take it one of those NFL stadiums? Do you look at those relationships, or do you focus again in Birmingham where you have a lot of synergy, it's working there? You double down and maybe move it to 2 days if you're going to do any type of pivot. Staying with you, AD, and then I come to Charles to kind of close things up.
You stupid, Edwin. That's all I'm going to say. Oh, my goodness. Hold up. I got to answer this one. Johnny Thornton. Obviously, you wasn't on Black Twitter because that's the only thing that kept popping up on my timeline Tuesday night into Wednesday was that game. So obviously, you don't. Black Twitter confirmed what I said. I don't need one time. I don't need like watch the data point on this. The eyeball test told me that this was the case because and none of y'all ever cared about the SWAC before. I mean the MEAC before.
Not like that.
Not at this level. So the eyeball test, Johnny, that's my data point on this one. But yeah, while it may be good to be moving to a Houston, I think where you're at in Birmingham is good. Birmingham is central.
Yeah,
all of the SWAC teams. You got what 4, 5 teams within a 5 hour drive of Birmingham,
right.
And then the other ones. Birmingham can be a little bit of a challenge to fly into because of the price, but you can fly directly into Birmingham. You may have to lay over somewhere, but you can fly into Birmingham directly. As far, I think the SWAC needs to play with its format some way, somehow, because the way that it is and the way it's timed out, it's impossible to get to all 12 teams.
Right.
I've gone to multiple SWAC media days. I can't tell you how many I've been to. At least maybe a half dozen. Never have I gotten to all 12. I think maybe the max is 10 that I have gotten to for one reason or another. But something has to be done because SWAC, Dr. McClellan, Andrew Roberts, I love y'all to death, but y'all got to remember, were it not for us being there, us being the media, no one would know your stories. So we need to find a way. I understand you got to do what you got to do for your TV contracts, but those of us who cover you on a daily, help us out. Give us a little bit more time. Coaches, players, whoever. Let's come up with a better timeline so that you can get a little more time with the regular media, as I like to call us independent people. And independent people, when they do come and sit down with y'all, let's keep it a buck, keep it a 5 minutes, 7 minutes tops. Don't record your podcast at media day. I'm gonna say it once again. Go ahead, Charles.
Good point. Fair on both sides.
I mean, you probably can play with the format with regards to the timing, and 2 days, could be a potential where we got 12 teams, 6 on one day, 6 on another day. But I think another something that we've talked about on this show quite often is, especially with this Band of the Year competition, there's got to be a way to incorporate not just the team, but the band directors, somebody to accompany the team, that you are this entourage of, Jackson State University, Sonic Boom of the South. You're all at Media Day, and that's going to really ratchet up, I think, the intensity of Media Day, the fervor that the fans have going into the upcoming season, because we have all these band competitions that are, right on the cusp of the season starting as well. So you want to hear from them a little bit as well. Plus, with social media the way it is now, people are starving for even more content. So if you can get that worked in, that'd probably be a good sort of something with regards to going forward with Media Days.
I'd love to see both band director and a drum major or two.
Yeah, really good. That's good. That's good points. Somebody needs to take that and make it happen. That was free of charge, as they said. Last thing, as we close, gave you a little bonus extended since we hadn't been here for a minute. MEAC order finished. Delaware State was picked 6th with 20 points. Did get one first place vote. Howard picked to finish 5th. Looks like they may be saying they're back to the Howard ways. 33 points. They did also get one first place vote. Number 4, Norfolk State, had 36 points and one first place vote. Morgan State was consistently picked 3rd, but no first place votes. The only team that didn't get a first place vote, but they picked all the way 3rd at 39 points. Then you have 2 and 1 respectively, really close in the first place votes, also close in terms of total points. Had a classic game last year that went down the wire. This year it's in North Carolina Central, who is number 2, 4 first place votes, 61 points. South Carolina State, 5 points, 63 points. Order of finish. We'll save this for next week as we release our order of finish. Kind of teasing that out. Lennon Blow said Sonic Boom was South Smart. Oh, yeah, that. Hey. You hit one with that one, brother. Yes, sir. I'll pay money for that. I'll pay money for that.
That Legion bad now.
Yeah, you talking about a cross-sectional event, baby. Good stuff, Lennon. Always bringing it hot and heavy in terms of what that looks like. But with that being said, let's get on out of here and give it a close. Like I said, we'll bring in some updates. We'll start giving some focus in terms of the cricket MEAC SWAC challenge kickoff. We'll get into that. We'll see if we can get a hold of John Grant, maybe a coach or two. Then it's going to be time for me to release my official preseason. We like to do all 21. We break it down over 3 segments when we do 7 at a team all the way to the top 7. We'll see what that looks like. Get these guys involved and get their thoughts on that. We want to say thank you for listening inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Make sure you share our podcast with your friends and colleagues. I am Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, the Dean of HBCU Sports, coming from inside the lab in the College of HBCU Sports with Mike Watts and Charles Bishop. Today we added in AD Drew, always giving it his thing. Again, we want to thank you for listening to Dr. Mills inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Watts and Charles Bishop every Tuesday and Thursday, 6 o'clock Central Standard Time. And not to be too soon as we start to get ready to actually kick it off, as they say on Sports Rap with Brian and AD. Time to get out of the line season. So we bring back on Sundays during that season the 9 o'clock a.m. version and let you know what took place on Saturday. Talk about who was lying and who not. We look forward to the next week as we discuss the latest news in the lab. Follow me, Dr. Kenyatta Cavil. It's DrKenyattacavil on Threads, Facebook, and Instagram. Inside the HBCU Sports Lab, one on Facebook. Inside the HBCU Sports Lab on YouTube. Dream big. Continue to move forward. We will talk with you soon. Charles?
Of course.
AD?
Lennon lead us to it. He got it on the screen.
Let's dismiss. There, when I see you.
Because I can find the button, everybody. Here we go.